All right, we're back. Episode 3 of the Walk On podcast. And right off the jump, we are super, super appreciative of our special guest being here today. He's a 20-year NBA veteran, 3-time Sixth Man of the Year award winner, and he's been dubbed the godfather of Seattle basketball. Jamal Crawford's here with us today. Jamal, how's it going, man?
Good. Thanks for having me. That's a heck of an introduction. I don't know if I can top that.
There we go.
Come on, man.
No, this is, it's only episode 3, and to have someone as big of a name as you and just sit down and talk, I think not even just for the podcast, but just as hoop fans in general, it's pretty exciting. So, just thank you. Really appreciative. And let's get right into it, man. I think Jared really was hammering the Godfather of Seattle basketball thing, and we had Keith, we had Keith on last episode, and so we kind of wanted to run with that off the jump. I know Tommy was excited to get into it with you.
Yeah, man. Like Luke said, absolute blessing. Thank you, Jamal, for coming on. So, I mean, obviously, it's the NBA offseason right now, and Pro-Ams have been jumping all across the country. And you've got one up in Seattle, the Crawsover. Can you just kind of hit on the Crawsover for us, talk about when you started it, why you started it, and just how far it's come?
Yeah, for me, I actually grew up in it. So I was one of only 2 high school players to play in it. And this was 1996, 97. And Doug Christie was running at the time. And Doug, we went to the same high school, but obviously a 10, 12-year gap. And so he really took me under his wing when I was on his team. And I was like, man, like for me personally, it just changed how I looked at things. It made it more realistic for me. I started playing against pros at an early age and had some success. And, as Doug got later in his career, 2005, I think he was like, yo, I want you to run it. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you grew up in it. You'll make sure, that the right people in it, that it's our fabric. And I was like, all right. And I didn't know how to, going all the way back to even get uniforms for people. Like, how do I contact all these people that are playing? Like, little things behind the scenes. And so at first, we were at different community centers, right? So we were at one community center one weekend. And at the time, it was like flyers. You know what I mean? Like, it was no social media. So it was flyers to get the word out. And so
that's wild.
No
crazy,
iPhone.
Right? And so, yeah. And we're at different community centers, and we're hopping every single weekend. So it was hard to keep a steady crowd because you could put a group text together, I guess, but it wasn't nothing like that. And so we went from gym to gym, finally found a home with my high school. And then we had more people start coming because they knew what to expect us every weekend. Then we had the community center, Rainier Vista, found a home there for a summer. And I remember, I'll never forget, we had an all-star. We had John Wall come early, really early. And it was he came and it was all right, there's a bunch of people here in this little gym. How are we gonna get them out of here, safely? And so that thought, I was like, okay, as this is growing, we got to move it. And that's when I moved it to Seattle Pacific University. And it's been a great partnership. That was 2012. It's been an unbelievable partnership since then. So, wow, it's gone 10 years being here. But we have the biggest actual facility in the country as far as pro-am. Some people have high schools, or some people have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry, Mom.
No, you're good. So for us, it's like having the biggest venue in the country. It gives us a lot of leeway, a lot of freedom. When guys come, we have guests come now. They can go downstairs in the gym and get, the weights, the gym, the whole routine, stretched, everything. So it feels like, even though it's off season, it feels like some of the amenities they would have in season. You know what I mean? It's the same gym where the Storm practice at. So it's top notch,
it's not your regular
levels.
Pro-Am.
Yeah, it's not your Pro-Am. And so I think the guests enjoy that. And they when they hit the court, when they come upstairs, they're ready to go. People are ready to see them put on the show. Sorry, it's a long-winded, but just give me a little backdrop of
No, that's what we were looking for. And
that's
that's
perfect.
Other thing, I've been there obviously with Keith multiple times, and you guys do a great job upstairs, where the players can kind of chill before the game, and there's food and drinks, and they don't have to they can kind of just get in the right mental state. And then, like you said, if they want to get shots up, they can go downstairs, get their shots up, and just kind of get locked in. And the funny thing is, 2012 was Ryan Looney still the head coach up there?
Yeah, I think he was. It wasn't Grant Leaf yet.
Yeah, Tommy plays for Ryan Looney at Idaho State.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he saw at the very beginning, Tommy.
Very,
very beginning. Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy, that connection. And I played it, and I've finished done. I got done in 2011. I played in the Seattle Pacific tournament when he was there, when they had Chris Banchero and all that. Yeah, so
Yep.
it's crazy how that stuff comes around.
Small world, right? But it's just it's
Man.
crazy now for me, like to see where it's grown. Like even Doug Christie came back, I think either last summer or the summer before, and he was like, "Ma," this last summer, he was like, "Ma," he was like, "Who thought that the Pro-Am would be on a video game?" He's like, "I only started this for us in the neighborhood to get a run in, get a sweat in when people knew how to play." It's like, so the fact it's on a video game, or the fact it's these sponsorships, the fact that like the whole world knows about the Pro-Am. You know what I mean? Even when I went to China, they're like, the Pro-Am, like they knew about it. So it's crazy to see
That's
exactly
so
where it's
dope.
went.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and just to see where it's grown, because that wasn't even a vision for me, to be honest with you. I didn't know it would explode like this.
It's great. So we got a few weeks left in it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the people want to know: are we getting Bron out there or what?
Tommy, that sounds like a personal question. It sounds like something you want to know, to be honest.
I want to
with you.
know. Yeah, I want to know what Bron does.
I don't know, to be honest. Obviously, we all saw him tweet, you know, and that's the thing about it. You never know who's going to come. That's what makes it special as well.
Yeah.
Like to see the lines of people that come in. It's free for everybody. We want to keep that quality as well. So if LeBron happened to come one day, it's not like, oh, today's the day we start charging. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's for the community. So I honestly don't know. But the fact that he even tweeted about it, I think hopefully there's a chance. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully there's a chance.
Yeah, you guys had KD in there. You've had Kyrie. I mean, you guys have done an amazing job, and I know it's just a testament to the level of respect I think you get like in the league. You personally, Maul, as like a player, is like I've never heard anybody say everybody that I know that knows you, like they love you, like, and that's like a huge testament to you and what you've done. And I think the other thing that we want to know is like why do you think in Seattle, obviously not having an NBA team anymore, I know that was really hard for you guys, but like why do you think there is so much support? Like where do you think that stems from? And I think people don't really understand like the level of like deep rooted love for basketball in Seattle.
Right. I think the first part, I have to agree with you, to be honest, because like when Kobe came, right? I've told the story many times, but just the fact that when he came, it was at the drop of a hat. He had no plans on coming. He happened to be here. And when I asked him, when I finally got the goals to shoot my shot and asked him to come, he was like, "You're playing?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm coming." Somebody with him, I won't say his name, a guy from a company was like, no, we have to go. And he's like, "No, Jamal's playing, I'm going to watch him." So he pushed his plane back, brought his family, and came and watched me play. And like you said, I think that's the respect level that guys have, you know, for me personally. And I'm honored, to be honest with you, because anybody that knows me knows I hate asking anybody for anything. But for the kids, I will absolutely ask these guys to come support. And then the second part of it, I think for us, like we're looked at as like a football town for a long time. Like a lot more people were going to college, not even the NBA level or NFL level either. A lot more people were going D1 off football scholarships back in like late 90s. You know what I mean? So you would have a one-off like Doug Christie, Mike Dickerson came, and then Jason Terry came. And then people was like, okay. Even Jason Terry going to Arizona was a big thing for us. Like, man, JT's going to Arizona. Like going a big time D1 where we could see him on TV, that was huge for us. Right. And then I was next, and I ended up going to Michigan. And I was so connected to everybody, like, because Doug's, you know, he's chasing his dreams in the NBA. Jason, same thing. I was still so connected that it was like, oh, Maul did it? I can do it too. He's right here at the same rec playing with me every single day, right? And I had success against him. So I think it gave a different belief. And then when I got drafted, I saw in Chicago, like Antoine Walker was here, Mike Finley was here, Tim Hardaway was here. They hooped together, but I didn't see them do like events together. You know what I mean? Like in the community. Yeah. So I was like, all right, not to knock them. I just saw them doing their own thing. Right. So I said, all right, when I go home, I want to stay connected to where everybody can reach me. Everybody can, you know, go on this journey with me and I can help. And then it went from 1 player to 2 players to 10 players to 20 players. And then now it's like our own ecosystem. You know what I mean? If I did it for Brandon, Brandon does it for Nate or Isaiah, and Isaiah does it for Peyton Siva, and Peyton Siva does it for, you know, whoever. And I'm just throwing out names, but Tony Rowland, right? And it just continues to go. And that's the only thing we ask, is that you give back to the next generation. And that's what makes it so special.
100%. I think like all the time, and I give Keith shit all the time because like he really wants to be a Seattle kid. He would rather quit. Yeah. See, look, that's gonna make him real happy because I give him crap all the time. And he's like, he's I'm from Sac, but I was like, nah, you're really from Seattle now. That 6-8 months at UW that changed you, which is for the better because I have to say, like, I didn't know until he started bringing me up there in the summer, like, you cannot beat Seattle summers as far as weather and
Oh,
activity and like
it's
hoop.
incredible,
And
right?
it's like, yeah, because people think Seattle just rain, but it's like, bro, the
Rains all the time,
summers
man.
are insane.
That's
Like,
how we
so
keep a
nice.
lot of people out. It's like, yeah, it's raining. Go ahead, stay out here.
Yeah.
We know our secret sauce.
Yeah, that's exactly. And the other thing, like we kind of just curious. I think you already touched on it, but what do you think the biggest? Not knocking anybody else, but what do you think the biggest difference is between the crossover and other pro-ams? Because you already touched on it, like Seattle's not really like it's kind of out of the way as far as a destination for like NBA summers, right? Like most guys are either in Miami, LA, or New York or they go back home. And it's like you do such a great job, but like, what do you think like the biggest difference is, I guess, between the crossover and say any of the others?
I think for the others, to be honest with you, I think guys, like some guys just play in their programs, and then some guys, like I'm sure Harden, DeMar DeRozan, those guys in LA have a bigger hand. I think the difference is this one's mine. Like I'm the actual figurehead
Yeah.
of pushing stuff, and I have a great team. I'm not saying it's mine. The standpoint, like I do this, I make this happen. Like I have a great team of Dave and AK and Vess and Ant and Rashad Powell, but I think it's mine from the standpoint of I will go out and get those players. Like I have no problem asking those players to come. I'm not sure those other guys are doing that. Sometimes, in LA, they may get lucky with the fact that people may be in LA and want to get a run. Obviously, Baron Davis, shout out to him too, one of my favorite players. There's a lot there too, but he does a million other things as well. But his heart is with the Drew for sure. But this one, I think it's just that part of it. And then the ultimate thing is we don't have the Sonics here. So people really gravitate, you know what I mean? Like they really gravitate towards basketball.
Yeah.
As far as some kid out there has never seen Blake Griffin. He's only seen him on 2K. He's only seen him on, TNT or ESPN or whatever it might be. So it's a different type of love these guys get when they come here. And they can feel it. Like, oh, this person's really never seen a pro before, let alone their favorite player. They've never seen a pro outside their city.
Yeah.
And so that gives a whole different energy.
Right. And so let's hear like what's your pitch? What's your pitch to like these guys? Like what do you like? You just ask them straight up, real simple, or like you have a way you set it up? Like what do you pitch them?
Yeah. To be honest, most guys I'm pretty tight with. Like some not tight like we talk every day, but tight enough where I can reach them or they can reach me. And we have a relationship. Yeah. Unless one of those guys like, yo, I see what's going on there, I want to come through. But I would say me reaching out most of the time, but also my pitch is like, yo, I know you've played in different programs, but I'm telling you the love you'll get here is a totally different experience. And I tell them about the kids and the same thing I just said to you and how a lot of it provides hope. Because now you're not just a character on TV, but they see you in real life. They can touch you. It's free for the community. I'm not making $1 on this. Matter of fact, I don't want to say losing money, but it's like a gift to the city. Like
yeah,
I'm not asking
for sure.
anything. You know what I mean? So it's like I fund this whole thing by myself, and I always have. So it's like I want to give those kids the experience. Because at the end of the day, it's about inspiration, it's about hope, and it's about memories and moments. So I try to provide all that for the kids, and I tell them that. Like Blake, when he came, he had never played in Seattle. He got drafted after the Sonics left, and so when he came, I told him what it'd be like. And then when he came on the court and he saw it, he's like, wow, like it touched him. You know what I mean? Just to see that he really helped inspire a kid that loved him, that never had the chance to meet him. It was different than seeing a kid that comes to Clipper games all the time that can touch Blake, no different. The inspiration is the same, but this provides hope to know like that's a real person. And so he felt that, for example.
Yeah, that's 100%. Super dope. I had no idea that it was free.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's free. Absolutely awesome. Free for everybody. And that's why I want, like, it's something, and I have kids play in the beginning. I have young ladies play after that. And then I have the Pro-Am start, right? Where our guys are playing. And I think that's different as well because I want those kids and the young ladies to have a platform as well, right? And so when they come in, I'm like, there's something here for the whole family. Some for kids, some for young ladies, some for grandparents. Come here, relax, eat your popcorn, sit down, chill out, and watch some of your favorite pros play basketball.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. Awesome.
Well, and I would even say too, I didn't realize, like, obviously I'd seen it on social media and like and just being in the hoop community, like, you know about it. But until last year, my teammates, shout out to Fonzo and Pierre, they made it a priority
Yeah,
to be there every
yeah,
weekend. And like,
yeah,
as just not really being that close to it, I never realized. I was like, man, like this is really like something that you got to experience. You got to be there to know exactly what you're getting a part of. So I didn't until I had those teammates that were making it such a priority to be there. I didn't know. So I really thought it was super dope.
yeah. And those guys, like, and I always tell them too, like, obviously we just had Trey Young, right? We just had DeJounte and we just had John Collins. And before that, the day before, we had Chet, Paulo, and Jaden McDaniels. And obviously everybody wants to see the superstars, right? But I'm telling, and the special guests, but I'm telling the other guys, like, yo, this is a platform for you too. Like, go out there and do
100%.
your thing. Like, we've had refs go from the pro-am to in the NBA. We've had refs work the pro-am before they were like known like that, work the NBA. Same thing with players. We've had players and coaches get jobs and stuff out of that. So it's like, I'm like, this is a platform for you too. Yeah, they want to see Paulo. They want to see, Trey Young or DeJounte. But this is a stage for you to, hey, this other guy was nice too. Who was that? And kind of get into your story.
Definitely. Oh, kind of transitioning from the pro-am more towards NBA career. So you were in the league for 20 years, and there's such a small handful of people that can say that. But we see the game changing almost every day at this point. What would you say is the biggest difference from players in the league when you first joined to when you exited? Like, what was the biggest difference between the players?
The biggest difference I would say is the age. Like, if you were 19 or 20, you were in the minority. You may have one or two guys on average on a team that were 19 or 20. You know what I mean? So it was a bunch of grown men. Like, so it was a men's league as far as how they dressed, from being wearing suits all the time, being immaculate, to how they prepared, and they were, 2 hours early for that 10:30 a.m. practice. Charles Oakley there at 8:30 already working out. So it was like a men's league. And a lot of them guys were 4-year college guys, right? Scottie Pippen. I played with Scottie Pippen. I played with Charles Oakley. I played with Rick Brunson. I played with Kendall Gill, right? And Fred Hoiberg. Like, so Kurt Thomas, and the list goes on and on. But it was just a men's league. It was just the like, at that time, think about it. Michael Jordan won the championship 98, he was 35. You know what I mean? So like, he was still dominating the league at 35 years old. There was still like a bunch of guys who were around that age. And so for me, that was the absolute biggest difference. That it was a men's league then, as far as the age gap and how things were going. Stylistically, though, obviously it's a more physical game. Like, it was so physical. It was, and that's why a guy like me was frowned upon early. They're like, nah, he got to get in the weight room. And I'm like, no, I got skills. I'm like, no, that's not going to work. You're not going to be able to get to that if you take these 5 forearm shivers back to back, right? So it's just different. And so the physicality, obviously now it's all pace and space. If you, basketball-wise, the biggest difference was from opposite ends of the spectrum. If you took a three-pointer with 22 on the clock, you were sitting on the bench. I don't even care if you made it. You were coming out of the game. What are you doing? What are you thinking? Fast forward 20 years, if you take a three-pointer off the drill with 22 left, you're probably a franchise player. You're probably Trey Young. You're probably
That's a great
now it's a
point.
weapon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that, I would say, is the biggest difference, because something that was the absolute worst shot in basketball is now the absolute biggest weapon. And so that's probably the biggest difference in basketball.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's a great way to look at it.
20 years too early for this generation. I was like,
Well, because how old were you when you came in, Maul? You were 1 year at Michigan, so you were what, 19?
19, 20, yeah, I was young. Yeah. Playing the same way, shooting threes, not watching it go in, threes off the dribble. So I was 20 years too early, for sure. Or my game is 20 years ahead, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, we'll look at it that way.
Yeah, either one.
Yeah, well,
We'll call you a pioneer.
There you go. I like that better.
You kind of listed a bunch of players that you played with, and we'll get into this later, but the title of this podcast, The Walk On, we talk about people who are stars in their role but don't really get as much praise as maybe we think they deserve. If you had to choose, and I know this is kind of a crazy question to go off rip, but if you had to choose one teammate that you felt like was kind of that walk-on pick that that you felt like was really a star in what they did, but never got the recognition they deserved, who would you say that would be?
Man, Luke, you got me going. I had so many teammates.
Yeah,
I
no,
gotta
see, I
think.
know.
That's a
I
heavy. That's
apologize.
a heavy hitter right
No,
there.
no. I'm thinking like now. So how I break this down when I do this, I go through in my mind. I go through my time in Chicago first because I was there first. So I'm thinking of
Right.
that. So it's gonna take a minute. Who was like really good? I'm gonna give you a name I've never said. I'm gonna give him some love. Trent Hassel.
Oh
He
man,
was tough.
I remember
He
Trent
was
Hassel.
tough. Like especially like in pickup settings because he was strong. He could post you. Obviously, when the game started, he played defense and did what he had to do to stay on the court, but he had a lot of game with him. Mid-range, tough, worker, athletic, made you work on both ends of the court. So I've never said Trent. So I'm shocking myself as I'm saying it because I've never said his name because I'm going back to my Rolodex. Trent House, I'll say, was the guy
That's
who was
love.
actually really good. Yeah, for sure. If he sees it, shout out to Trent. Country boy, but shout out to Trent.
He wore the knee-high socks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he ate peanut butter and jelly sandwich every road trip in the room. So. Yeah, I think you gotta ask him if we get a hold of him.
Yeah. Luke and Tommy might be a little young for that. But.
Yeah,
I've definitely heard the name.
That's what I love. I love that part though because, like I'm sure we'll get into some type of 6-man conversation right at some point.
Yeah,
and
100%.
and right, and I don't want to say the obvious ones. I always like to educate the viewers on somebody different. And during the pandemic, that's why if we go back, I was like tweeting out 4 to 5 guys every day who I was watching. And I knew it was people who weren't known to the masses like they should be, but they were nice. And I want to give them their flowers. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna say names that probably people.
We love that. He was like critical when KG was making his run with Minnesota and they went to Western Conference Finals. Like he was big time.
For sure.
At that time,
he was.
He helped them a lot.
Jared just wants to flex his hoop knowledge there. So
Jared's showing off right now.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Says the guy that has his 6-man trophies right behind him right now. Strategically placed.
I didn't do that. My wife did. Hey, if this Zoom was bigger, it's actually a bigger picture of other stuff. My wife did that. So.
He made sure those were in the frame.
We're just gonna place him right here.
Out of all the stuff, that's gonna be there. Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, that's a good place to kind of transition because you said it. And we were obviously they're gonna name the trophy after you, so we kind of have to talk about it. But at what point in your career did you embrace that role? Because I know as a hooper, like a hooper, and someone like as talented as you didn't. That wasn't your role until probably when it hit you. And it's like at what point did you just embrace that? Like this is what I'm gonna be right now. Not to take anything away from what I was before.
So for me, I never grew up wanting to be a 6-man. You know how it is. When we grow up, you don't want to come off the bench. You don't want to be a walk-on or any of that. Like you want to be the best, right? Or what's perceived to be the best. And so
and you weren't when you first came in. I mean, you're when you got to the Bulls and like you were really getting busy in the starting lineup.
Yeah, no, it was just like now I feel like if you're performing well, but your team's not winning, like, oh, we got to get more health. At that time, it was like, oh, you're a good player, but you're on a bad team. So it was totally different, right? And so I was tired of getting to the point of being a good player on a bad team. I'm like, no, I've won all my life. I won in high school. I won as a kid. In college, I only played half the season, but I won the games that we played there. Like I've always won. And I started putting up more points and putting up better stats. And I was like, you know what? I'm like year 9, year 10 in my career. I'm like, man, I'll do whatever it takes to win. I was tired of losing. I'm like, I'll do whatever it takes to win. As fate would have it, I got traded to Atlanta Hawks. They already had their starting 5 in place, right? And they just went to the playoffs. So it just worked out perfect for me. I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. And I knew going into that year, I was going to be the 6th man. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know it would take on a life of its own. I didn't know I'd be mentioned among some of the best 6 men to ever play because that wasn't the goal. I just wanted to prove that I wanted to prove that I could be successful on a good team because I didn't want to be viewed as a loser. I hated that. I didn't care about what stats I throw. I hated that thing. And so for me, I embraced it after that. I tried to master it. I tried to be the best I could at it. And to be honest, not to stick my chest out, but I felt like I was confident enough in my skills that put me anywhere, I'll find a way to make something good happen. And that was another challenge for me. And the NBA, we're all creatures of habit. It's all routine. But I need to trick my mind and keep it fresh. And I was like, you know what? I'll master this now. Okay, you say I can't play. I came in as a point guard. Now I'm mastering scoring. Okay, now you want me to go from 2 guard to off the bench. Okay, I'll master that too. So I was trying to trick my brain to keep it fresh, and its fate with habits took on a life of its own.
Did you change your routine, like how you worked out?
Yeah.
I know there's all different kind of stories about how you didn't quote unquote train and all that stuff. You just hooped a lot, but is there stuff that you started changing what you worked on?
Yeah. So obviously in Seattle, I could probably step on the court and be one of the first 10 players to play. I would say it's pretty safe any court, but I started waiting. I started waiting till the second and third game, because I started putting myself in my mind that I wasn't going to be out there when the game started. So what are you going to do? You're going to stretch while you're over here? You're going to, what are you watching? So I started putting myself in that mindset, in that mode, as games were going on. And I did that going into the summer, and it didn't work when the season started. I still felt weak. I'm like, I'm on the bench. This is crazy. But then after he told me, I tried it. But then after Coach and Joe Johnson, after the very first game, no, we played Indiana. I was 1 for 2. I had 3 points. And Joe Johnson's like, man, we need you to score. And Coach was like, come on, it's Coach Woodson. He's like, we want you to lead the league and score off the bench. We want you to go for it. I'm like, oh, for real? He's like, yeah, you're just a 6th starter. I'm like, oh, okay. And at that point, averaged 18, second lead scorer on a team that went to the playoffs, won 50-plus games, won 6th man of the year the first time. And that's how it went.
That's all you needed to hear was the 6th starter.
Yeah, that's it. I was good with that. I was good. So then when I started going to the table, I tricked myself oh, it's just the show hasn't started yet because I haven't got in. I started tricking myself I was Superman. Yeah, I was Superman. And that's, where my mindset
wild.
was.
That's incredible.
It's all mindset, and perspective and discipline and all those things that go into it.
How do you I'm gonna kind of go, I just have a sidebar question. Now that you've experienced all that and I watch a little bit, I know little JJ is pretty nice. How do you coach him through that stuff? I know you got you and I know little Will and but for him, how do you help him deal with that? Because eventually he's not gonna be playing Rotary. He's gonna be playing for a high school and coach. And just do you start prepping him on that now, or do you just kind of just let it happen organically?
Both. So we just actually worked out. That's why I missed the text when you guys were like, well, but yeah, with him, both of those guys, I coach both of them. I want them to take it day by day, enjoying the process and the journey, but I want them to think big picture as well, right? So they may do something at work, and they're like, oh, that was nice, coach. I'm like, or dad or Uncle Ma, whatever, whoever said it. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not going to work in high school. You know what I mean? So yeah, I let them go through the journey, but I'm trying to also plant the seeds in their mind about the big picture of, how sometimes it's not 8 dribbles from you to, it's 3 dribbles, getting downhill, making a play and making that pass. Yeah, you made a tough floater in front of, guys right there, and it was nice it went in. But for your long-term growth, that's going to be draw and kick. And that's with both of them, right? It's always little things like that. So I let them go through it, experience it, but I also plant seeds in their mind with hey, this is how it's going to be in high school, this is how it's going to be in college, and also work towards that as well with training stuff we do.
Yeah, they're going to be, they're, I mean, I haven't seen JJ work out. Obviously I've seen Lil Will work out a lot, but they're going to be special, man. Both of them, especially if it's cool for them to stick together and go through it together and have that partner in crime.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, it doesn't matter if we're ranked number 1 or ranked 1,000. The work doesn't stop, right? And so, I said the world didn't learn about me until I was 16 years old, at the Pro-Ams. And then they, so I was that kid where they're somebody's out there right now working on their game, somewhere in Chicago or New York or LA or, Memphis, wherever is working on their game right now, and you're not working your game. I was that kid that was working on my game. And so when the opportunity came and the platform came, I was already prepared because the work had been done. Now I get to show off the work. You know what I mean? So with them, I just keep them doing that. It was just rain out here and we were out there. I know I saw JJ's face Dad, why are we in the rain? Why are we doing it? But I want him to experience that, right? I want him to feel that, because if you can mentally get through some things that aren't comfortable, because it's going to happen in life. And if you can get through it when it's not comfortable, it gives you a certain mettle and a certain I can get through something that's not You know what I mean? And that's in life, not just in sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that you're kind of coaching more involved, coaching them, like what do you see the biggest thing that needs to improve for like, we talked about this with Keith a little bit, and like, this is something I deal with a lot. Just, I train a lot of middle school kids and stuff like that. Even the high school kids, like, what do you think needs to improve, or what do you think needs to be changed the most at that age? Cause they're like, you know, that 6th grade, that's where like those bad habits start to like kind of manifest.
Yeah. The on and off switch type deal, to be honest with you. Like, we had a play the other day, and it was JJ actually, and we were beating the team by 20 or whatever. And he has a layup, and he slows all the way down so he can like do some type of jelly type floater. I don't know what he was thinking. He just walked in and got a layup. I went off. I lost it, because those are habits you can't have creep in. And he doesn't understand it right now, and they don't understand it right now. But the habits, like you said, because you are your habits, right? When 100%. Things get tough, if like I always say, if you're doing drills and nobody's there, and you're kind of messing around or doing something, or you might be doing something good, that's going to be the same move you do when you're getting pressure, and because you're instantly going to go to that comfort of, okay, this is what I do. And if you're half-assed doing it, or not doing it full speed, or doing it like there's a cone there, not a defender, it's not going to work. You're going to be rushed. You're going to be make bad decisions because now you're in panic. You know what I mean? And so things like that, just the habits for sure, and just how to do things right all the time, no matter what. No matter if we're up just 10, down 10. And how I feed it to them is this. I say, what's your favorite restaurant? Chick-fil-A. I'm like, all right. So if you go to Chick-fil-A, if it's in New York, if it's in Atlanta, if it's in Seattle, you expect it to taste the same every time, right? Like, yeah, it's Chick-fil-A. I said, right. So there's a certain standard we're trying to set.
Right? The Chick-fil-A standard. I love that.
That's a great analogy.
There's a certain standard we're trying to set. No matter where we go, no matter who we're playing, we're this every time. I always tell them it's not about us. It's not about them. It's about us. So we have to set the standard. And so I feed it to them that way.
How crazy do they look at you? Because Tommy and Luke can tell you, I have some wild metaphors when I get mad.
Goodness.
And like, I feel like that's a great one. But if I said that to the 12, 13-year-old Luke or 12, 13-year-old Tommy, they would look at me crazy.
Oh, I have one better than that one. They really look at me crazy. I don't know if y'all want to hear it.
No, we got to hear it.
We have to now.
So when we don't talk on defense, right?
Of course not. Tommy doesn't talk on defense.
Why are we lying? Why are we lying?
So we don't talk on defense. I'll say, I'll pull them all together. I say, Juju, what'd you wear to school today? No, I'll say, Juju, what did William wear to school today? He's like, what? I don't go to school with him. I don't know. I say, William, what did JJ wear to school? He's like, I don't know. Like, coach, what are you talking about? I say, exactly. You guys aren't mind readers. You can't say, oh, I thought he was going to switch, and I thought he wasn't going to switch, and think it's going to work out. Like, we have to talk about this. But when I go around the whole room, they're all like, Coach, where are you going? Like, I don't know. What are you talking about? I wasn't with him today. What do you mean? I'm like, right. Exactly. So you have to talk about what happened.
That's great. I'm using that one at the next kids camp that we run in the summer. Luke knows all about those.
Oh, 100%.
That's my communication. That's my communication speech.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was funny though, because the one time I did it, the parents, that was one of the practices, all the parents were there, and they didn't know where I was going with it either. Then they all started cracking up laughing. I think I got that one from Doc. I got to be honest. I think that was from Doc.
Yeah. Kids are crazy, man. How you connect with them, and like what resonates, what doesn't resonate. Like you would think the simplest stuff, just like, how is this not, like, how are you not understanding this? And then you say it a crazy way, like, and it just like
there's some interesting. We were playing a championship game in Oregon, and I think we were losing, but we should have been winning, or back and forth. And it was around JJ's birthday, and so we already had Top Golf planned in Oregon. We already rented out. I called time. I said, look, we're having a party at Top Golf after this either way. So we're gonna be there with long faces, or we're gonna be there celebrating. But the party's happening, so you pick which one we're gonna do. Like which one we're going. So you're gonna have long faces, eat your cupcakes, or you're gonna have smile and hit the golf club to eat your cupcakes. Which one is it gonna be? Because we're going.
Yo, that's awesome. So kind of just to wrap up, I have one more question. We were talking about, kids basketball and youth and AU and even, being in the league and all that other stuff. I want to ask you, Maul, even from JJ's age all the way up to, something like Keith, who's 25 and top 10 pick, all that stuff. Like, what would be your best advice for someone coping with like coming off the bench or like being in a reduced role? Like, what would you get? Like, what would you tell them? What would be some best advice you give them?
I think I always tell them it's just like, first off, to embrace the journey. Like if you're driving down the street, who knows if there's gonna be bumps, if there's gonna be hills, like just embrace the journey. And on the flip side, like just master something new. Like try to master that role. Like I talked to a player, I won't say his name, he was struggling the year. He's like, I only play like 5 minutes a game. I said, so in those 5 minutes, try to make this, and this happen in 5 minutes. And then hopefully that 5 minutes goes to 8 minutes, and 8 minutes goes to 11 minutes, and you keep improving and you look at it as like another notch in your belt. Like, yeah, it's not the most comfortable, but if you can learn this, whatever the coach is asking you to do, or if you can thrive in whatever small role that is, that small role may become a bigger role. You know what I mean? And you gain the coach's trust. And now coaching, for me, the coaches play who they trust, right? It's not just always the most talented or skilled. Who they trust in that situation will be in the game. So whatever situation they're asking you to be in, if you can show that you can do it consistently and they know what to expect and have that trust, I think you just grow from there.
Definitely. That's a really good way to put it. Good answer. So I know I kind of mentioned it earlier, and we have a running theme with this podcast. We do our starting 5 picks and our walk-on picks for every episode. So like you said, we were gonna get into more 6-man talk. So that's the category today. So we're gonna roll with our starting 5 6-man and our walk-on pick for a 6-man. Before we get into that,
all-time NBA 6-man, right?
Yeah, all time for the starting 5, and then walk on current. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, current NBA.
Are you guys going first? Am I hearing your guys first?
We can,
however you want to do it. If you want to set it up,
I want to hear you. I already know mine, and my answer won't change. I promise. Go ahead, Luke. Start with you.
Okay. So to preface mine,
oh God, that's gonna be that means it's gonna be wild.
No. Listen. Well, you could take that however you want, but it might be a little smaller lineup. I'm just gonna say that. So at the 1, we're rolling with Bobby Jackson.
Okay.
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, had to be a Kings player.
Had to.
He touched your childhood. I get it.
Yeah.
Nope. He wasn't born when they were good. He hasn't been alive when they've been good. Jared.
When do you think I was born?
All right, go ahead, Luke. My fault.
Okay. Bobby Jackson at the 1. At the 2, I got Jamal Crawford. I felt like, it was only right. Like I said, small lineup here at the 3. We're going Manu Ginobili.
Okay.
He is 6'6", so I mean, it's the wings might
that's solid. That's solid pick.
No, you don't have to explain that one.
Yeah. Cool. At the 4, Tony Kukoc. He did win NBA 6-man of the year 1 year. Tony Kukoc. Come on, that's my Slavic.
Nice. That's
Slavic
nice.
roots
that's
right
nice.
there. And then at the 5, I don't think he ever won the award, but he did come off the bench during a lot of playoff runs. Channing Frye at the 5.
Damn.
Oh my God.
I had Channing. I switched it last minute.
So we'll roll walk-ons right now also. So current walk-on, I have Bogdan Bogdanović of the Atlanta Hawks.
That's a nice pick.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a nice pick.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Tommy. What you got?
Yeah. All right. So I got my backcourt holding it down. I got Maul and I got Leandro Barbosa.
Oh, another homer pick.
The Brazilian blur. All right, I got those 2. And then at the 3, I went Golden State Warriors version of Andre Iguodala. Got to have him. Just too solid for me not to put in there. At the 4, I went Lamar Odom.
Okay.
And at the 5, y'all are gonna be surprised by this one. I was taking my time looking at the center. We need a good rim protector. I went Chris Anderson, the Birdman.
Wow. That is intense, Tommy. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Good rim protector. And my walk-on pick of the week, I thought a lot about this one. I really like this pick. He locks up. He does it all, really. DeAnthony Melton, the Grizzlies. I really like his
Nice pick. Nice pick.
I think
what you got, Jared?
All right. So, again, historian of the game here. I got Jamal Crawford at the point. I got Manu Ginobili at the 2. I got Phil Jackson at the 3.
Wow.
Last time the Knicks won a championship, Phil Jackson was the 6th man.
Wow.
Okay. I got Tony Kukoc at the 4. He came off the bench for arguably the best team to ever be, 96 Bulls, 72-10. And then I have, you're not ready for this one. I have Bill Walton at the center because he was the 6th man for the 86 Celtics.
Whoa.
Okay.
Arguably one of the best.
Wow. They're
They're right there with the 96 Bulls' best team of all time.
Good squad.
So
And that was go ahead. What you got, Mo?
No, I'm listening. That's a great pick.
I got my walk-ons. I was really struggling here. I had a couple, but I think I'm going to go with Bones Highland.
Okay.
As my 6th man. I was going to maybe pick Kevin Love because last year he came off the bench and the Cavs are really good, but I'm comfortable with Bones. He's going to be up and coming.
He's nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, Maul. Let's hear it.
Let us know.
See, I'm thinking of who I'm gonna put. I got the players. I'm just thinking how I'm gonna arrange
The lineup.
Right.
the lineup. So to the viewer out there, they obviously know the current or recently retired and current guys. So they know myself, they know Lou, they knew Manu. So I'm not gonna say any of those guys.
Okay.
Right? I'm trying to educate a little bit. So
Yes.
at the 2, we're gonna be small. At the 2, I'm going with Ricky Pierce.
I like that one.
Yes.
At the 3, I'm going with Eddie Johnson.
Nice. Okay.
At the point, I'm going with the microwave. He's only going to pass to the basket, I know, but I have to go.
That's a nice one.
We're really small. I'm going Kevin McHale at the 4.
Nice.
Solid.
Detlef Shrimp at the 5.
Oh, that's Seattle.
Yeah. And then my walk-on has to be somebody current, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
current player.
Current. You said Bones, so I won't go there. I'm gonna go with Taj Gibson.
Nice.
And
That's a good one.
And the reason why is because we have a lot of scoring. We need somebody who's bigger. We need a sub to do some of the dirty work. And he was up for 6 man, didn't win one when I got one. So I got to show him some love. So I'm going
I like that.
He was runner up.
yeah, he was runner up. So I'm going
How long has he been in the league? He's been around for a minute.
Long time.
Yes.
Seriously.
Long
Yeah,
time.
it's a long time.
Yeah. I think this one's gonna be a heated race. I don't know. Tommy kind of took the cake last week.
Yeah.
Might as well tell them all I've been sweeping the competition.
Tommy
There
picks
you
the
go,
most
Tommy.
boring picks. Tommy just
Not
picks what the
boring,
crowd
bro.
wants to see.
That's just
He wants the crowd.
And
Yeah,
all
I'm giving you
the
crowd.
followers are Tommy's friends from high school. So
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Hey, before we send it off, Maul, again, obviously we want to say thank you so much and we appreciate you. Is there anything else you wanted to add, or like if you wanted to throw some tags on there, like or any kind of crossover information for all the people out there? Hopefully we get all the way out and touch some of Seattle so they get some info. So if you have anything to add or anything you want to, just the floor is yours.
Yeah, just shout out to everyone the people that have been rocking with the crossover for years and new people who are learning about the crossover. Like, it's something different up here, as we talked about earlier. The fact that we don't have an NBA men's team here, this is a lot of the only NBA basketball that kids get to see without going to Portland, or flying somewhere else. So shout out to all the players that have come out. Shout out to the future players that are coming out. But I know I get a lot of credit for it, but to be honest, the community makes the event, right? So them coming out support with no violence and them bring that energy and being that excited every single weekend makes it what it is. It makes Seattle a special place. And I'm beyond thrilled that the rest of the country, the rest of the world is catching up to what we're doing, putting a light on Seattle basketball. And thank you guys as well for having me on, because I really appreciate it. Anytime we can get the word out there for what we're doing, everybody has a role to play. So I'm very respectful and very thankful for everybody that helps push this thing forward.
Yeah, no, I tell people all the time, Seattle is, from a high school basketball and just a basketball culture, it's unmatched in my opinion. I've been a lot of places,
Right.
but it's unmatched. So we just appreciate that you keep doing what you're doing and killing it out there. And the last, I've just forgot. So I want to know from you, because you've probably known him since you're little. Is Paulo taking home the Rookie of the Year this year? The hometown
Absolutely.
kid. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. You heard it first. Jamal Crawford.
Heard it first. He's absolutely taking the Rookie of the Year. But Chet's going to have a great year as well. So they'll be, you know what? They'll be close. They'll be neck and neck.
It'll be a good race.
Maybe Cole, maybe Paulo, maybe, so we'll see where it goes. They both are great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yes.
Well, like Jared said, we're extremely thankful, extremely appreciative of you being on here. And I know it really meant a lot to us. And like I said, just as a hoops fan, it was really cool to just sit down and talk. So just thank you
I'm
again.
honored to be here. I always love talking with real hoop heads, to be honest with you. So this was a thrill for me. No problem whatsoever. Maybe we'll do a part 2. At some point in the season, right?
Hey,
then I may bring some questions for y'all as well. So we'll see.
I can't wait for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Jared, you got anything to say, man?
Hey man, just remember, guys, 50 chips a night gets you right.
Hey, how to get his piece
That's
in.
your Maul. That's your golf game for the day, Maul. 50 chips a night, baby.
50 chips a night. I like that. I like that. I like the number 50. I like the golf.
Get the golf.
No, there we go. But that's episode 3. This is your favorite walk-ons walking out. So thank you.